Welcome. We will be looking at activity-based budgeting as one of the important budgeting systems. But the thing about activity-based budgeting is that before we look at activity-based budgeting, there are a few things that the study text kind of prompts you to recap. And so, because it's already been looked at, except a component called ABM, there's a component on ABC, activity-based costing. So we're going to look at it because activity-based budgeting is based on ABC results, ABC work. What you basically do is you apply ABC to your previous year, get information, get figures, get numbers, get cost driver rates, etc. And then you use those figures to budget for the future, where you call it activity based budgeting. That's the gist of it. So before we look at ABB, this video I'm going to use it as a recap for ABC and ABM. Okay, so activity based costing. The aim of ABC is to calculate the full production cost per unit. You know this. So if we go back to how things started, this is stuff from P1 or F5. You know that the traditional costing systems were absorption and marginal, and there were a lot of issues with absorption and marginal with regard to the breakdown of overheads, the root cause analysis, the causality issues, all those kinds of things. So then we propose that activity-based costing is actually better because you're not looking at your department or your business in a functional or departmental approach. You're actually looking at your business through the activities that your business performs. So by that, we came up with these steps, the 5 steps of ABC, which is you identify the activities, and then for each activity you come up with your cost pool. You pool in all the costs related to that activity into one big pot, and then you calculate or you identify cost driver, what actually drives that activity. For example, the simple example I take is travel, right? The distance traveled is your cost driver for the traveling cost. Very simple. So if you have traveled and your traveling cost is 2 million, and then your distance traveled is 200,000 kilometers, you can divide the 2 million by the 200,000 kilometers and get the answer to say this is how much we are spending per kilometer. So if you have that kilometer figure, which is called a cost driver rate, step number 3, you calculate the cost driver rate by dividing your cost pool and getting your from the cost driver total, and then you get your cost driver rate, which is the per kilometer figure. So if you have that figure, it's very difficult to do your calculations. If you have 3 products and for each product the kilometers traveled is different, what you all you have to do is you multiply your cost driver rate per kilometer figure by the respective number of kilometers that are traveled on behalf of each of the products, and get the total traveling related costs, or maybe it's selling and distribution, whatever, with regard to each of the products. So this approach gives you a better visibility and better breakdown of and you understand exactly why you're spending the money, rather than the traditional absorption costing overhead costing approach, because it's looking at overheads from a indirect costs, right? You're looking at it from a very broad view, where you don't really, and you're using departmental OARs, overhead absorption rates, in order to absorb them into the products without really knowing the cause and where the cost is coming from. So that problem was addressed by ABC. That's what ABC did. So ultimately, once you have your cost driver rate, step number 4, you absorb each activity costs into the product, and finally you are able to calculate the full production cost or the profit or loss ultimately. So in F5, in P1, is a little bit in part of the science behind it in SBL. You do look at all of these aspects. ABC is relevant when indirect costs are high, and product and services that you're offering are complex, and they're tailor-made to customer specifications, and when you have some products or services that are being sold in large numbers, but others that are being sold very few. Like in my case, my portfolio, I have services that are selling in large volumes, and I have services that are selling very few. So you have to have a understanding of ABC. Not that ABC is going to get tested. Okay, you will not get tested on ABC. That's done and dusted for you. Just understand this science, and I'll tell you why. Because ABC figures, especially this cost driver rate, the cost driver rate, that is the fundamental figure that is being used in activity-based budgeting. So that figure, to calculate that, you look at your previous information, you look at your past year information, and you get these figures and anything and everything that you can derive from it that is useful for a ABB exercise. Okay, so we're going to stop the ABC discussion there and then switch to something called, okay, so this is your study text. You have a few examples, you can take a look at those. Okay, so ABC and ABB and all of these fit into a broader spectrum of science called ABM, activity based management. So, activity based management is essentially running your business, not looking at it from a departmental angle or SBU angle or a functional angle, not like that. What you do is you look at your business as a collection of activities, and you exert control. You plan the activities, you exert control through the activities, and your decisions are regarding the activities. This is what ABM essentially means. The technical definition is the use of ABC information. ABM is the use of ABC information, which is the activities and the cost drivers and the driver rates, for management purposes to improve operational and strategic decisions. There we go. ABM applies ABC principles in order to satisfy customer needs using the least amount of resources. ABM applies ABC principles in order to satisfy customer needs using the least amount of resources. You try to do it as efficiently, as economically as possible, even though there are practical challenges to it. Okay, so as we use ABC information to make better decisions operationally and strategically, when we use it operationally, we call it operational ABM. And when we use it strategically, we call it strategic ABM. So you have a few ways of descriptions under operational ABM and strategic ABM. There's a separate note that is generally shared in your case for my P2 students. So I'm going to share it with you as well. You can take a look at it. You can print it. You can read it. It's a better summary and a better presentation of information with some additional information also from outside. In terms of straightforward explanations, operational ABM is essentially when we can use ABC information to improve operational efficiency. By reducing and eliminating activities that don't add value, by refocusing on only value-adding activities, by continually improving the value-adding activities, by reducing the incidence of cost driver rates. If we understand that a particular cost driver is running too high, and therefore our costs are running high, then what we can do is we can exert control over that particular cost driver and see how exactly are we going to manage it. And it can be used to identify design improvements. It can be used for risk management at operational level, etc. Strategic ABM is more broad. It's when ABC information is getting used by the directors in the boardroom. So what they do is they can decide things like eliminating unprofitable products, repricing, changing the prices of the products, determining the profitability of new products so that they can manage the product portfolio well. You can use something like ABM and BCG matrix for a proper snapshot of product portfolio analysis and cost analysis, so that you combine all of that intelligence to make better decisions about how exactly are you going to strategize and position your products. It can assist with customer profitability analysis, essentially breaking down profitability per customer. Each customer, you analyze them individually because you have ABC information. It's very easy to break your product costs down on a per customer basis and a per product basis. So CPA is customer profitability analysis. DPP is direct product profitability. You can analyze each of your products in a detailed manner using ABM and ABC information and decide how exactly you're going to move forward with particular customers in their case and particular products in that case. You can use it to improve relationships with customers and suppliers. As ABM is essentially being used nowadays in online retail, because even if you're someone who has bought like 2 things from Amazon, what Amazon is doing is they're tracking you. They know individual information about you. They know how much you're willing to spend. They know your location. They know how much it costs for a product to get to you. And then using all of that, sometimes you might have seen when you're checking out, they say shipping is free, because they know and they've calculated and they've seen that a delivery to you is just another delivery in the thousands of deliveries that is coming into that area. So to retain you, it's better to give you, because you're a new customer, you've only bought 2 purchases, and you realize shipping is free for you, then you might buy more. So they use that kind of activity model, activity based intelligence, in order to directly cater and support and ensure and reinforce that their sales are provided in a maximum utility manner for you, so that you're attracted and you want to buy more and more and more. So there we go. That's how ABM is used. So you get the gist of it, right? It's the use of ABC information to manage your company. Now that is what brings us to ABB and activity based budgeting. So we will be looking at it in a different video, because we're doing this bite size. um, have a clear understanding. Don't worry too much. Don't think that you're going to get tested on ABC. You're not. ABM, you have to have an understanding, because it's either operationally or strategically that you will be required to answer questions, not calculations, but really explore a business, whatever business case that you get, and decide how exactly you want to proceed with it. Good luck, and thank you so much.